All-Star Game. Mike Carlson introduces the two teams, starting with the Eastern Conference.
And the center for the East, Patrick Ewing from Georgetown University and the New York Knickerbockers. At forward, the man who is both immovable object and irresistible force, Sir Charles Barkley. Voted Larry Bird to the other starting forward spot, but his back is still injured, and Michael Adams takes his place on the roster. Scottie Pippen takes Bird's place in the starting lineup. Starting point guard, Indiana University, Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas. And the other guard is a guy named Jordan.
Hi, I'm Michael Jordan. Come fly with me on the European Sports Network.
Over in the Western Conference, the center from the University of the Naval Academy in the United States, San Antonio Spurs, David Robinson. Chris Mullen, St. John's University, Golden State Warriors. They call him the mailman because he delivers. Karl Malone from the Utah Jazz. Voted to the starting lineup by the fans, Tim Hardaway from the Golden State Warriors. And the second All-Star in NBA history to be known as the Glide, Clyde the Glide Drexler. Taking Tim Hardaway's spot in the starting lineup, Irvin Magic Johnson.
Watch the matches of the NBA. So watch the European Sports Network.
If you like basketball out of the very top drawer, you've come to the right place. Screensport brings you live coverage of NBA showpiece, the All-Star Game, in which the top players in the league put on a show not only for the fans in the Orlando arena, but also for thousands of people watching these pitches around the game. With me, Mike Carlson. Mike, the team news.
Yeah, they're introducing the starting teams, and there you see Scottie Pippen, who's going to replace Larry Bird at forward for the Eastern team. They introduced Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing, the forward and the center, respectively. We should get a good game here because, in a funny way, Pippen helps the East team match up better with the West than Bird would have.
Of course, all the stories that have been written in the press this week is about Magic Johnson. A great atmosphere.
Oh, it's unbelievable, bringing Magic back, and certainly the fans are behind him 100%. For those of you who don't know the story, Magic Johnson did not play this season. He announced in November that he was suffering from HIV virus. He was going to take the rest of the year off. He was going to work to publicize AIDS research and to work on behalf of AIDS victims. But he was voted, in fact, onto the All-Star team by the fans, even though he wasn't playing. He's going to be starting in this game, and of course, he also wants to play on the U.S. Olympic team.
And how about this guy, Michael Jordan, a legend in the NBA?
A legend in his own time, our time, your time. Michael Jordan is the best basketball player probably the planet has ever seen.
Mike, how serious do these players take it? Is it just a showpiece, or is there a good deal of competition between the East and the West?
There is a good deal of competition. The players take the game rather seriously, but you won't see a whole lot of defense being played. Nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to hurt anybody else. So you'll basically see the guys being able to do what they want. It'll look kind of like the Indiana Pacers taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And how do they appoint the head coach? As we see here, Don Nelson from the Golden State Warriors.
Right, and those are his two assistants, one of whom is his son, also called Don Nelson, but with a second N to distinguish him from his father. Basically, the two head coaches are the coaches whose teams have the best record at the All-Star break. They generally bring along their own staff as assistant coaches, and that's what's happened for both these teams. In fact, Phil Jackson has Tex Winter, the veteran coach who's really responsible for that tremendous defense that the Chicago Bulls play.
You were just saying a moment ago, Mike, that you don't expect a great deal of defense by either the East or the West. Does that mean we're going to have a very high-scoring game?
All-Star games usually are high-scoring. Most of them have been. And what you find in these games also is that point guards tend to be the big stars because the job of the point guard is to penetrate. And normally when people are playing really tight D, they shut off that penetration by the point guard. In these games, they let him go. They tend to score a lot of points. Isaiah Thomas has been MVP in this game. Going way back to Adrian Smith of the Royals, it's been a big game for guards.
Being introduced now to the Western Conference All-Star team.
And we saw, there's Dikembe Mutombo, a rookie just out of Georgetown from Zaire, a late bloomer as a basketball player, but he's come in and he just missed being elected to the starting team by about 5,000 votes in the fans balloting, and he's had a tremendous year at Denver, confounding all the expectations, and he was drafted 4th in the amateur draft. 3 teams are really regretting they didn't take him.
And the Nigerian here?
Akeem Olajuwon, and Mutombo is from Zaire, Olajuwon from Nigeria. And I tell you, basketball is taking off around the world, and it's not long before African teams will be competing in the Olympics and getting medals.
John Stockton from Utah, the guard.
I love this guy. We'll talk about the Olympic team before, but in '84, Stockton was the last guy cut from the U.S. Olympic team. People I know who were at those trials tell me that apart from Michael Jordan, he was the best player there. And Otis Thorpe, and it's nice to see a guy like Otis Thorpe getting some recognition. He came out of Providence College. He's been a banger underneath. He's worked really hard for his whole NBA career. He scores points, he gets rebounds, but he's always played in somebody's shadow. He's never played on too many really good teams. It's good to see him get some recognition from the coaches around the league. The coaches select the rest of the teams by ballot after the fans have picked the starting lineup.
At forward, a 5-time All-Star who currently holds the highest All-Star game scoring average in history with 22 points per game. The leading vote getter in the Western Conference from the Utah Jazz, the mailman, Karl Malone.
Karl Malone is 6'9". He weighs about 250 pounds. He runs. His whole game is running up the court. Now, a real contrast to this guy, Chris Mullen, who's about 6'6", 6'7", not very fast at all, and has a lot of herky-jerky moves to the basket. He fakes you up in the air, he moves past you, he sidesteps you, good shot. He's turned his career around since problems with alcohol abuse.
Among the league's top 10 in 5 categories from the San Antonio Spurs, David Robinson.
David Robinson was the center on the '88 Olympic team that lost to the Soviets, took the bronze medal, and he's going to be trying for another chance at that medal in 1992 in Barcelona. We'll be talking about that later on in the program.
From Portland, the guard.
Clyde Drexler, a tremendous offensive player. Now, I mean, Magic looks pretty subdued for himself now. I think the moment is getting to him a little bit here, but you should hear a huge round of applause for this guy.
Let's hear it.
One of the greatest players of all time, making his 12th All-Star Game appearance, Irvin Magic Johnson.
It's hard to conceive what's going through his mind at the moment, Magic Johnson.
You know, this is what he does. This is what he's there to do, is play basketball. And you know, it's no exaggeration to say that when the NBA was having a hard time, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird saved the NBA. They brought it back to the popularity that it has now. They set the stage for Michael Jordan. And even at 32, this guy is still a great basketball player. The world's first 6'9" point guard.
How big a blow is it to the NBA that he has decided not to play this year and probably will never play again in the NBA?
Well, it hurts them a bit. The league itself is very strong now, and they can afford to lose a superstar like Johnson because there's plenty of others now coming up to take his place. And his role as a spokesman for the league continues. The Lakers, it hurts quite a bit, although Mike Dunleavy's done a tremendous job coaching just to keep them in contention. He's also lost Vlade Divac, the Yugoslav who plays center for them, for most of the season. So without Divac and without Johnson, you would have thought the Lakers would have gone into a tailspin, and Dunleavy's kept their head well above water.
Do you expect him to be as prominent in this All-Star game as he has in previous All-Star games?
That's a really good question, because he hasn't played any competitive basketball now in about 6 months. He's probably a bit out of tune. This is the kind of game he could do well in, and you watch, I don't think anybody's going to be giving him a really hard time defensively.
Won't be too popular with the fans if they do, will they? He really is a star of the show, along with Mr. Jordan, of course.
Yeah, it isn't often you get people overshadowing Michael Jordan.
So, we'll pause for the national anthem, which will be sung by Michael Bolton.
And now, to honor America with the singing of our national anthem by an artist that recently won 2 American Music Awards for the Best Pop Male Vocalist and Pop Album of the Year. He is also a Grammy winner, nominated 3 consecutive years for Best Pop Male Vocalist. Please welcome Columbia recording artist Michael Bolton.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we had the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave of the land of the free and the home of the brave?
West have won the NBA All-Star Game for the last 2 years, so they're looking for 3 on the trot. Last year's All-Star Game was in Charlotte when the East won by just 2 points.
Dumars, Jordan, double clutch, gets the roll. Magic, all the way. Misses with the left hand. Stolen away from Ewing by Malone. Magic again. Look at this. Barkley in a crowd. Finds Jordan. Great pass from Barkley for the jam. Barkley, all the way. Terry Porter pounds it back all the way with a gorgeous move. Bullet to Hardaway, but he'll circle back out and wait for the flow to catch up. Now Magic does it, and does he ever? Wilkins, look out! Oh, he blows the dunk! Jordan. Michael, 17 for him after the emphatic slam.
These pictures coming to you live from the Orlando Arena. We're getting set for the NBA All-Star Game. Starting fives already on courtside. A very welcome sight for any basketball fan.
Yeah, and you saw from last year's highlights the kind of game that it is, and it's a bit relaxed, and even the players are enjoying the show from each other.
Well, let's cross now to the Orlando Arena for commentary of this match from Dick Enberg and Mike Fratello.
Number 42 underway, and Magic touches it first. Ewing to Isaiah. Scottie Pippen. Michael blocked by Clyde Drexler.
And that's normally the routine that Michael Jordan does. Come from behind your head, take the ball out of their hands. That time, Clyde returned the favor.
Jordan with Drexler. And the mailman has his first stamp on a rebound. Magic Johnson surveying the floor, and it's Drexler outside. Malone working on Charles Barkley. Jeff Mullen inside. Chris Mullen with a beautiful touch. As the West team, their practice, their one session involved much more passing and drilling, and it appeared Don Nelson really wanted to work on that quick pass concept.
Well, two ends of the spectrum as far as the practices go, as Patrick Ewing does what he does so well, knock out, face up, jump shots. They actually went hard in practice yesterday, and one of the big reasons Don Nelson said was to see how hard Magic could go, and he said, I think Magic really wanted to see for himself.
Now Magic's been running, he says, 4 miles a day and working against Kareem in practice. Misses his shot, goes back up, and is fouled.
During the practice yesterday, you saw a transition, you saw 3-on-2, you saw defensive plays. Nelson was determined to make the guys work. You'll see constant movement by both teams, but particularly the West, because that's Don Nelson's style. And I think Magic here is trying to build up his offensive rebounds in the game.
Magic Johnson, some most impressive numbers, of course, the assist total, the all-time high in the NBA. Michael Jordan committed the foul, and Magic converts 2, and the West leads by a deuce. Boy, a lot of beef there, and Barkley goes around Malone but can't connect. Malone rebounds. Magic with a 40-foot pass to Drexler, and it's Mullen open. The former St. John's All-America Chris Mullen has 4. Answering at the other end is Isaiah Thomas.
And that's exactly what they'd like to do. Establish this type of tempo, get the crowd into it, and Magic comes right back and answers with his transition score.
That's just what you said you'd look for the first 5 minutes. Isaiah and Magic getting these two teams on the run. They were off to a slow start. Remember last year in Charlotte. Michael Jordan! Oh, my!
Michael just adding one more to the highlight film.
Interception by Isaiah Thomas. Numbers aren't there. What a pass to Jordan. But Robinson said, Robinson out on Zeke.
Yeah, first Michael said, no, I'll think twice about it. Then Zeke said, I'll think twice about it also.
And Robinson, who's one of the leaders in steals in the NBA. And it's Malone at the other end. But what a play defensively by David Robinson.
It's really hard to understand how much ground he covers, how quick he is for a person of his size.
He's 4th in the league in steals. Ewing inside to connect, and a foul.
Isaiah Thomas taking it right at his good buddy, Magic, and then the switch of the hands at the end. So good around the basket, Isaiah. And then right back at you. Magic doesn't give him a chance to turn around, blows it down the floor, and converts.
Ewing fouled by Drexler, going after the three-point play, and not there. It's 10-8 West as Robinson collects the rebound, and here comes Magic. A little give and go to Robinson, and he's fouled by Barkley, who, despite his bullish nature on offense, really doesn't commit many fouls. Very low count, averages just a little over 2 a game.
Well, generally, when you commit fouls, you're playing defense, and Charles will be the first to admit, I am not in this league to be a defensive stopper.
He just looks like he should be.
Foul number 32, Charles Barkley.
Robinson, in his introduction, the only All-Star here in the top 10 and 5 categories, 9th in scoring, averaging just under 23, and pretty good free throw shooter, but misses both here. 10-8 as the East goes for a tie or more. Pippen behind a pick by Barkley, and can he fly to the hole?
As Johnny Bach told us, he may be the best in finishing way above the rim since Dr. J. I mean, he really elevates.
Clyde Drexler over the top, stolen by Robinson, and he is fouled.
You talk about getting up above the rim. Once he turns the corner and particularly likes to go right, he is up so high above, even difficult for Patrick Ewing to get a piece, or a David Robinson or whoever else might want to step up and take a shot at it.
And Pippen, one of the great stories, inspiring from Central Arkansas. Ewing with a foul. He went to college on a football managerial project scholarship. And they said, well, you're not a bad basketball player. Why don't you give that a go? And here he is, one of the premier stars in the game. West by 2. Fast-paced beginning here in Orlando. 8:40 left in the opening quarter, and it's Barkley with Robinson. And Robinson denying the baseline.
Because of the limited amount of practice time, you'll see the 1 or 2 set plays that the coaches have put in, but usually at the end, you see the one-on-one like that. Individual talent take over.
Eye contact with Michael, and he has 4. At the other end, Drexler to Robinson. And a foul. Ewing is second.
This is the man of the hour, the man they're looking for. If you take your eye off him, they'll just throw the thing up in the air. He'll elevate. Tough to stay with him.
Had a long chat with his father a couple days ago. And he said that as a youngster really thought Michael was going to be a baseball star, that he was an outstanding shortstop and pitcher. He said actually it was because he grew so much that his baseball uniform didn't look good on him. His legs were too long for the pants, and he went for style, and 2 basketball to the good graces of all the rest of us. West by 1. Pippen misfires on a toss to Jordan.
This may be hard to believe, but the East squad actually looks small compared to the West squad at his size, the body width, etc.
Mullen, and it's Ewing with a steal to Isaiah Thomas. Pippen. Pippen has 4, and the pass too tall for Robinson.
Karl Malone likes the idea of being in the middle of the break, but the touch pass isn't quite as easy as you think it is to make. One of the great abilities of the Western team is that they can switch because they're so similar in size, everyone.
Ewing over Magic, and the East lead now by 3. A 8-0 run for the Eastern All-Stars. Magic hooking over Zeke, his close buddy, 16-15. Well, that'll bring back memories of his rookie year in the playoffs against the 76ers when he went inside and led the Lakers to the title. Jordan.
Oh, no! He had no shot, nowhere to go, but found the way.
Magic. The table tennis match, end-to-end. Robinson to Mullen with Drexler with him, and Malone gets the gift, and the West back on top. 19-18. And a time call. Oh, what great early action. Michael Jordan punctuating the greatness of these players with this move.
The ability to take off on one side of the lane and finish on the other.
Well, I can't wait to get home to try it out in my backyard.
Welcome back live to the NBA All-Star Game. What an electronic start to the game.
Oh, I mean, they're just running up and down the court. We've seen 5 or 6 things that get onto the year-end highlights tapes already. Michael Jordan with a couple, Magic with a couple. And what's really impressive is the way that the team working, even though they're not running plays, they're looking for each other. The passes are coming fast and furious.
West substitution, number 10, Tim Hardaway, replacing
6 consecutive years. Went to North Carolina, as Daddy said, because Dean Smith was the only coach that recruited him that wouldn't promise him he'd start as a freshman. Everyone else did. And Michael took it as the challenge. Isaiah, 3-pointer, the first of this classic, and the East leads by 2.